governors, and representatives of local governments. It is a great honor for me to have you and to host you here today. Distinguished guests, we are here at Fesane today, which brings together the heritage of history and the dynamism of the present. This industrial facility, which manufactured fezzes in the first half of the 19th century, is today a cultural center with its library and exhibition spaces. Fesane, like Istanbul, symbolizes the cultural richness, resilience, and self-renewal power of our region. Today, as representatives of the cities of the Middle East and North Africa, we have come together with the vision of peace and cooperation. Because in this period, when many cross-border problems such as poverty, injustice, war, and migration are experienced together, we local authorities have a historic responsibility. What's happening in Ukraine, Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria reminds us once again of an important truth. We can neither prosper nor be safe while there is instability and conflict in our neighbors. And that is why we must act together. We must not only manage the crises, but we must also put forward a vision for the future that will further the prosperity of those living in our cities. Whatever challenges we face today, let us not forget that the Middle East and North Africa's historical legacy is one of peace, prosperity, and science. This has always been the case. This legacy reminds us that our region's heyday was based not only on strong leaders, but on relationships that connected cities, societies, and cultures. Alexandria's famous library, for example, housed the knowledge of different civilizations. In the same period, a rival library was established in Pergamum. History witnessed cities competing not with their armies, but with their libraries. Baghdad of the Abbasid Caliphate was the center of knowledge and science. The knowledge produced in Beytül Hikmeh fed not only the Islamic world, but also the European Renaissance. The Ottoman Empire, with its center in Istanbul, drew its strength from a network of multicultural cities such as Aleppo, Damascus, Baghdad, Cairo, and Tunis. These cities became bridges connecting peoples and economies from the Eastern Mediterranean to the Balkans and from the Black Sea to the Indian Ocean. Today we will talk about how we can revitalize these networks.
Canlandırabileceğimizi birlikte konuşacağız. Değerli dostlar.
Dear friends, of course, no one can claim that peacemaking is easy, especially today. In Syria, our southern neighbor, we watched the fall of the 61-year-old Ba'athist regime in only 10 days. Syria paid a heavy price during 13 years of civil war. Nearly 600 Syrians lost their lives in the civil war. More than half the population was displaced, either within the country or seeking refuge in different cities in neighboring countries, especially Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan. Infrastructure, roads, hospitals, and schools have been destroyed. The economy, education, and health system collapsed. The Syrian people are in a state of war trauma and uncertainty. The destruction in Syria is not only the mistake of an autocratic regime that oppressed its people. Syria's current situation is also the work of those who exploit the country's ethnic and religious differences for their own interests, who talk about Syria's territorial integrity on one hand and seek to dismember the country on the other. The Syrian people, who have shown great resilience and claimed their destiny, will now work to rebuild their country and its democratic institutions. Building is much more difficult than destroying. So we have a very difficult process ahead of us. Our hope and desire is for Syria what it is also for Turkey. A free, independent, inclusive, and democratic Syria. So at this point, it's vital to prevent terrorist organizations from taking advantage of instability or deprivation and poverty to exploit the Syrian people. It's important to prevent the exploitation of the Syrian people. And we, local authorities, have an important responsibility in this regard. Dear colleagues, distinguished mayors, governors, and representatives of local authorities, Istanbul, which today hosts nearly 2 million Syrian citizens, is determined to support Syria in the social and economic development of cities emerging from war. Syrians who left their loved ones, their homes, and all their possessions for Turkey and the neighboring countries should not have to pay a new price when they return back to their homeland. That is why we are ready to support those who want to return and rebuild their country in any way we can. So for those who want to return voluntarily, we can provide training in many fields. From municipalities, from local governments to craftsmanship, and we can provide these courses at İtmek, the Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality's art and vocational training courses. And with our sister city Damascus, we can prepare an action plan for post-conflict cities. In this context, I think that the cumulative knowledge of the Istanbul model, based on the principles of inclusiveness, development, and welfare, and the many solidarity municipalism practices we have developed, can be a source of inspiration for the big cities in the region. As Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, we're ready to share all our know-how, including our experience in disaster and post-emergency response. As a new era begins in Syria, war and destruction continue in Gaza. The death toll in the last 13 months has reached nearly 45,000. 70% of them are women and children. The Palestinian people have been fighting for decades for the return to their land and their independence, but their situation becomes more and more difficult every day. More than 5 million Palestinian refugees face statelessness and deprivation of their most fundamental rights. A just and enduring solution to the Palestinian cause is crucial not only for regional stability but also for global justice and peace. Yet much of the international community is mute and deaf to the Palestinian tragedy and to Israel's reckless aggression and expansionist policies in the region. For peace, it is not enough for the guns to fall silent. People need security and peace. Even when the guns fall silent, the legacy of wars and political instability, that is migration, poverty, unemployment, and inequality, persist. The number of people living below the poverty line has exceeded 190 million. Nearly 30% of our youth are unemployed. This rate is twice the world average. Climate change and water scarcity directly affects cities. All the mayors represented here, all the local authorities represented here experience this problem. The Middle East and North Africa is the world's poorest region in terms of water per capita. Economic hardship and migration due to climate change shake the social structure of our region deeply. While income gap is deepening, people's trust in governments decreases and political instability is on the rise. Insecurity or lack of trust and instability lead people to seek fundamentalism and then to civil strife and war. Dear colleagues, war, migration and poverty challenge our shared human values. Tackling these challenges requires solidarity and efforts that extend beyond borders. Today, however, political barriers and tensions have pushed our cities apart and even made them hostile. We have to change this trend. This initiative aims to highlight the growing role of Middle Eastern and North African cities in international affairs in a stronger manner. In conflict-ridden regions, such as the Middle East, cities can reduce tensions and become centers of reconciliation, of a strong and beautiful life. This requires our joint effort. As the closest administrative structures to citizens, as those cities touch the problems of citizens each and every day, and it is the cities that can make a significant contribution to addressing the inequalities at the root of major conflicts through participatory policies. As we open this historic meeting, I offer a roadmap for strengthening the role of cities, the role of our cities in promoting peace, stability, and development. Let us build a network of peace and prosperity among the cities of the Middle East and North Africa, and let us develop joint projects through continuous dialogue and information sharing. In the face of traumatic transformations, our shared geography experiences, we need to build institutional know-how to accelerate urban development, especially in post-conflict societies. Let's establish regional support mechanisms for cities emerging from war without any discrimination. Let us share our most successful projects with one another. Let us encourage cross-border initiatives and develop city-led cultural and economic exchanges, from joint art events to trade fairs and urban planning projects. Let us launch initiatives to ensure that cities are recognized and supported as key actors in peace building through working with international actors such as the United Nations. Let us lead and advocate for the international community to establish a reconstruction fund for conflict-torn cities in our region. And through this fund, let us make it possible not only for cities to be rebuilt, but also for millions of people who have been forced to seek refuge elsewhere to return to their homes in dignity. Dear guests, today, let us announce to the world from Istanbul today that we envision a future where the cities of the Middle East and North Africa are strongholds of innovation and resilience. As Istanbulites, we are honored to host this first meeting. I wish that this unity and solidarity, the seeds of which we have sown today, will grow and strengthen, just like the B40 Balkan Cities network we established 3 years ago. I wish that this unity and solidarity carries us to a joint bright future. I look forward to the joint declaration of our will for peace and cooperation that this historic meeting will bring to the world. I hope that the mayors who have not joined us yet will be inspired by our joint declaration and will be willing to join us in the future. I thank each and every one of you for participating in this meaningful gathering and for agreeing to contribute to it, for showing the will to be one of the founders for this important initiative. Thank you for being here. I wish each and every one of us a fruitful meeting. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure this is going to be a very positive meeting. We will now continue with our first session and the speeches of the first session. The first session will be on the role of cities in building peace, challenges and opportunities. I give the floor first to my dear colleague, the mayor of Baghdad, Mr. Ammar Musa Kadim. The floor is yours, sir.
أكرم إمام أوغلو رئيس بلدية اسطنبول الكبرى المحترم.
Mr. Ekrem İmamoğlu, the mayor of Istanbul, distinguished mayors, I greet each and every one of you with respect, and let me once again highlight the fact that this is a very important and valuable initiative. I would like to thank all the organizers for this initiative. It is a very important and valuable effort to bring together mayors and local authorities from the MENA region. There are two axes here to discuss what is going on in the Arab world and the surrounding, the neighboring regions. Mr. Mayor and all the mayors here will, of course, underline how important regional authorities are in building peace. Diplomacy will, of course, will be one of the driving forces, especially in conflict regions. And in this conference, of course, we will discuss the possibilities for peace. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, following Erdogan's visit to Iraq, where they signed 28 memoranda of understanding, we made significant strides in our relations. We have deep and relations rooted in history. We signed bilateral agreements with the city of Gaziantep and with Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality as well, which again go on to show how strong our relations have become. Iraq has strengthened its relations with the rest of its neighbors as well. We're doing our best to ensure the safety and security of our brothers. Iraq has always stayed away from interfering in other countries' internal politics. Turkey and all Arab countries are part of Iraq's domestic security and safety, because our neighbors' internal security and safety is also our domestic stability and safety. We can only fight against conflicts and strifes through peace and diplomacy, which is something that our constitution highlights as well. Iraq always keeps away from any agreements that would lead to polarization. Distinguished participants, regional peace is indispensable for economic growth and prosperity. That is the only way we can achieve economic welfare and prosperity. Iraq now experiences a very strong and rapid growth. So here is my carte blanche to each and every one of you. Come to Iraq to invest. I invite all large companies to come and invest in Iraq, especially in Baghdad, because we foresee and envisage a bright future for Baghdad. It is a very important city for us. It's our capital. so we can do whatever is needed for the reconstruction of Baghdad together. We're open to bilateral and multilateral opportunities of development and investments. Let us build peace and stability in the region together. Let us try to overcome conflicts, or at least curtail them before they grow out of proportion. Of course, we have to put an end to the attacks on Gaza, and we have to end the atrocities against the Palestinian people. We do our best to continuously strengthen our cooperation with Arab countries and our other neighbors. Our brotherly relations are our starting points, and this will help us build peace in the future. Challenges will not stop us. We will always work towards peace. As I conclude, I would like to thank the mayor of Istanbul, Ekrem İmamoğlu, for hosting us, for having us here today. I also would like to thank all the mayors who are here today, because we will build peace together, and I hope that this will be a successful meeting for each and every one of us. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for highlighting peace and rebuilding peace together through joint efforts. Now I would like to give the floor to Isha Kassis, the mayor of Ramallah.
Good morning. Mahmoud Darwish said in Resilience and Hope, and I quote in Arabic, and I'll translate, وحبوب
Mahmut Derviş'in umutla ilgili
they fill the valley with wheat. Mayor İmamoğlu, thank you for expressing the Turkish hospitality at its best. You inspired us with your words last night and now, and for leading today's first meeting in difficult circumstances is a proof for your strong, genuine interest to work together as local governments for peace building. I'm honored to be here today with the Palestinian delegation to express by first-hand experience the value of working together. It's not a fairy tale, but a reality that Ramallah lives and shares the value of working together for the benefit of the people. We cherish the relationship with Turkey, who's supporting through its world-class export the Palestinian economy, and for Istanbul, who will today, inshallah, become a sister city to Ramallah. We look forward, Mr. Mayor, to working with you at all fronts. I start by calling my family, the world cities, to join the call for ceasefire in Gaza and justice in Palestine. We are grateful for the people of the world who said no to the genocide, who worked with us for peace to prevail. We lost over 45,000 precious lives. How many more does the world want us to offer? And for what? I want to live for Palestine. I don't want to die for Palestine. This is resilience as we live it. In Palestine, we educate the people of the world the values of humanity and the shame to remain silent over this reality. We pray for Syria too, and as believers, we are confident of God's will to defend the oppressed. God doesn't leave us alone. All prophets came in similar difficult times, and God's will prevail at the end. It all started in 2012 when the United Nations adopted the 17 SDGs. That's when the role of municipalities shifted and responsibilities grew from a service provider to a nationwide, worldwide influencer for building societies to live and work for hope through resilience. A local government today cannot function alone, and those of us notice the huge value of working together and leaving no one behind. In Ramallah, the wider spectrum of services created room for healthy relationship worldwide and locally with the central government, who sees us as equal partners. The engagement with the international networks and the interaction with other cities regionally and internationally created huge, unprecedented value that reshapes cities. Today, Ramallah is by far perceived as an international city with a Palestinian flavor. We were recently acknowledged at the World Urban Forum with the Silver Trophy for a whole city award among 263 competing cities. We were incubated within the international arena of local governments. We are active members at UCLG, and here I would like to express the importance of UCLG MIWA division and the more synergies required to further strengthen our ties. Ramallah is ambassador at UCLG for the Pact of Government, and we look forward to working with each member of you and the wider UCLG family, especially MIWA. Also, we are the treasurers for Metropolis and an active member at the International Executive Committee of Resilient Cities Network. We cooperate with everyone and support team spirit with world cities. This what made Ramallah present today and current in the mind of world cities. And this has advocated big time for Palestine. Had it not been active and an active part of the world cities, Ramallah couldn't have played such leading role in world local governments arena, advocating for development, sustainability, and resilience. Today, world cities are open to share and learn, and we are all in the same boat. We follow unified standards, making the world look so small and reachable. Yes, I don't feel foreign when I talk to Istanbul, to Johannesburg, Buenos Aires, Barcelona, Bordeaux, Tehran, and many other friends and colleagues. We are all one, and in so many ways. Yes, there are far too many things in common that we must build on. Our people elected us to serve them and equally, and to show and share their potential to the world. Cities and ambassadors, cities are ambassadors to their countries. We get out the best in our people, and we give them hope and decent living environment, an enabling environment that they can excel in and grow. In this region, we are a young society. We must listen to the majority excluded, the young, the youth, and build with them, for them, a better tomorrow, and make them part of this transformation to get their commitment and succeed in our mission. We must use modern tools and speak modern concepts, use technology, and promote dialogue as we do in Ramallah. Yes, we did it back home, and it's working, and we are sharing this experience and would be honored to share with you all. I will close here and assure you, my dear colleagues, that I did it before and it worked. Working together is noble, and my commitment to join forces to come up with a fruitful outcome is not negotiable. Thank you.
Sevgili
My distinguished colleague, friend, Mr. Mayor Issa, I would like to thank you, and I would like to send via you my greetings to Ramallah, to Palestine. We stand with them. And now I would like to give the floor to the Deputy Mayor of Isfahan, Mr. Kamal Haydari. The floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. و به نستعین. جناب آقای اکرم امام قلوب، شهردار محترم استانبول، شهرداران عزیز، میهمانان قابل قدر، هیئت‌های محترم دیپلماتیک و شرکت کننده.
Distinguished Mayor of Istanbul, we're all here today to talk about peace in Middle East and North Africa. We are here to build it, to strengthen it. City is a place of peace, and mayors are the people who should call for peace. And as mayors today, we're here in order to strengthen the cooperation around peace. First, of course, we should focus on the role that cities play in the life of people. People have built cities because cities provided safety. It gave people the opportunity to share duties and responsibilities, and therefore share services. And they got together in order to live safely, away from conflicts and wars, in an environment where they could enjoy several services. So this is why people built cities. And when we think of peace, cities are built to bring peace. And peace, therefore, could be expanded to all over the world, starting from the cities. Mayors are also representatives of the people living in these cities. Mayors should work hard in order to prevent the obstacles or remove the obstacles in the way of development. Mayors should make sure that peace prevails, and if there are any obstacles on the way of peace, mayors are responsible to remove them too. And however, any conflict could be destructive for cities. Cities always suffer as a result of wars, conflicts, and therefore it is our responsibility to support peace, just so that we can protect all that we have built, just so that we can prevent damage and destruction, because a mayor can see the consequences of wars and conflicts. Everything that a mayor, that a municipality has built can be destroyed through wars in a very short time. And that's why our duty is to establish and support peace. Mayors would do everything that they could do in order to protect peace, because protecting peace means protecting cities. Now, I try to show you how important cities are in building peace and how important mayors are in building and reinforcing peace. And sometimes heads of states might think that mayors have nothing to do with building or protecting peace. Maybe they would think that we are overstepping our duties. But this is not true, because peace is directly related with what we do, and we need to actively pursue ways of establishing peace and protecting it. We're responsible of our people living in cities, of their safety, of their health, of giving them robust infrastructure. So we have a very important role and a very important say in peace. And we could use all tools available to us in order to make sure that we build it and we sustain it. And we also need contact points in order to work together in times of crises. Peace for a municipality is not only promotional, it's not only on paper. In Middle East and in North Africa, we have some common values. We have common religious values as well. So by adhering to our religious values, to Quran, to the Prophet, we can be further encouraged to work together. We can be further encouraged to establish a better friendship, a better cooperation in the future. This will help us stay away from conflicts, stay away from destruction. In this way, we can show the whole world that we can work together. When Middle Eastern and North African countries decide to work together, stand together, the results will be very influential, will be very strong for the region. The municipality of Isfahan had worked for many decades around the same theme, and we are ready today to continue in this vein of work. We're ready to cooperate with the mayors in this region in order to sustain our cities, to increase resilience of our cities, in order to support peace. We are ready. Once conflicts and murders increase in the region, this leads to stability among many countries here. Our municipality is ready to come up with proposals. We would like to propose that we establish a secretariat between the countries represented here and work together. We would be ready to offer our help. We would be happy to work with you. It would be our proposal to establish a general secretariat, and I would like to finish by a quotation of Mevlana. If I fight alone, nothing will change. If you fight, there's a light inside you, and that light will bring peace. This is what Mevlana says. I would like to thank you for your patience. Thank you. I would like to thank Mr. Kamal Haydari, the distinguished mayor. Mayors are responsible of protecting cities, providing safety. I take this very seriously. The mayors should also stand against conflicts and wars in order to protect their cities. I thank you for your remarks. Now I would like to give the floor to the mayor of Adana, Zeydan Karalar. The floor will be yours now. Well, first of all, I have to say that I'm very happy to see my colleagues, that we meet regularly in the UCLG meetings. I'm very happy to see you all. In this geography, we're surrounded by fire, by war, and therefore it is maybe more important than anywhere else to establish peace. And this meeting is the first of its kind in order to contribute to our common efforts to establish peace in this very important, in this very sensitive region. Now, capitalism feels victorious in all areas and will claim that it is successful. Capitalism, however, has disrupted the balance of nature and has broken the hopes of many people and living beings. And on the other hand, what we try to do is we try to establish this balance, re-establish this balance. We try to re-establish harmony between nature and people, and to establish stability and peace. And this is what we're working for as municipalities. Now, in conflicts, we see two different things. First of all, the stronger one will oppress the weaker, either to gain some benefit or to just seize the resources of a certain area. And what's really sad is countries who are the advocates of human rights and freedom and peace remain silent, and they watch silently. And today, migration and immigration are big problems today. People are forced to migration. They suffer economic difficulties. They suffer poverty, hunger. And unfortunately, this movement of people, this migration, will continue. And as migration continues, more disruptions or disharmony will take place in cities. So what do we do in such an environment? What should we do as municipalities? There is this imbalance, and this leads to internal conflicts, civil conflicts as well. And we should prevent it. How would peace contribute to cities? Building peace is important. Peace is not only the absence of war and conflict, but it brings social justice, inclusiveness, and social dialogue. Peace brings all these elements into being. And therefore, it's important that cities enjoy peace. And in cities, we have many people living together, cultures come together, many opportunities are born. However, also, on the other hand, we see social inequalities very acutely in cities. This is why cities bear many opportunities and challenges alongside these opportunities. Now, cities are places for different cultures, beliefs to come together, and a diversity to come together. If you manage this diversity well, then it brings you richness and an environment for dialogue and opportunities for peace, because it will open up channels of communication which might reduce disagreements and conflicts. local governments have this strength, this capability to follow what's going on at the local level more closely. We can operate at even the neighborhood level to work with people and to help people to work together. Yes, cities bring many economic opportunities in order to reduce unemployment. If we reduce unemployment and poverty, we will cover more ground in reaching peace, and we can also contribute to social integration. Education, culture, transformation, these are also very important in cities. The educational institutions should work hard in order to expand values like social cohesion, inclusiveness, social dialogue. Fast urbanization would lead to an increase in population, and irregular urbanization might also bring some dangers or threats in the face of building peace. So what I'm trying to say is there are opportunities that cities bring, but also there are some challenges. I have some notes here about migration as well, but I talked about this. It might bring, of course, populism together with it. The populist discourse might dominate the public discourse, and this might create difficulties in the building of peace in societies. But what should we do? Cities should play a more important role in building of peace. And what can we do to ensure that? First of all, we need to manage social diversity more effectively. In cities, we have different ethnic and cultural groups. This is a diversity. And this diversity, if managed well, will give you richness, will help you becoming more inclusive and building peace and democracy. Different groups should be included in decision-making mechanisms. This is a very important building block of social structure. Local communities, different groups should become a part of decision-making processes. This will increase social dialogue, social cohesion, and all groups will be represented. And economic justice should be established, combating poverty, unemployment. These are important, and effective education, awareness programs will also help us. Cities give you a lot of opportunities to contribute to peace because you can bring together different groups and they will have the chance to establish a dialogue. Different schools will teach values of peace, democracy to citizens and try to establish a culture of peace. Managing migration and integration. This is also important. Our cities host many migrants. People come from different parts of the world, and that they live together in harmony is very important for our municipalities, which means that we need to pursue integration policies. A safe and sustainable infrastructure is important for local governments. Local governments are in direct contact with citizens, and therefore we are better placed to manage crises. As Mr. Mayor has said, we are directly in contact with citizens in their difficult times, in funerals, in using the urban services, utilities. We are in direct contact with them. So our influence on them is really different when compared to the influence of central government, for instance, on people. We're in direct contact with our people, and therefore it's important that we raise their awareness about these important values. If we have the right policies, cooperation, inclusiveness, cities would become more sustainable. Building peace is not a goal which is accomplished once it's reached. It is an ongoing responsibility for all of us. We need to make sure that our cities enjoy peace, livable conditions, and in order to do that, we need to work together. We need to share our knowledge and experience, and we should be inspired by best practices. These will be the milestones for our development. I would like to thank Mr. Mayor for heading this very, very important meeting at such an important time. Thank you very much. Distinguished Mayor of Adana, Zeydan Karalar, I would like to thank you for your remarks. In cities, policies might lead to polarization and alienation, and this would then undermine social peace, but it also undermines and threatens international peace. Thank you for warning us in this regard. Cities should bring people together, should help meeting of cultures and policies, not alienating people but bringing them together, would definitely help international peace. Thank you. Now we will talk about how culture and art will play an important role in building of peace. And I would like to give the floor to the Deputy Secretary General of Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, Mr. Mahir Polat, and he will describe to you what kind of cultural, artistic activities we conduct in order to contribute to peace. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, distinguished mayors, distinguished colleagues, distinguished delegations. Welcome to Istanbul. We are honored to have you here. We have here very important cities represented. They are the ancient, old cities of important cultures and civilizations. Now, we have now an opportunity to think about how culture and arts and intellectual thinking can contribute to our cause. Mr. Mayor from Ramallah gave us a very good summary. This geography actually gave birth to all our prophets, all the big prophets. And this region represents intellectual labor, knowledge, wisdom, culture. And it is in this region that when we say civilization, we go to Medina, the city which the name implies and carries the root civilization, medeniyet, in it. And these cities, definitely, the cities represented here, bring together holy values, holy books, faiths, and prophets. We have a very important heritage on our shoulders. We hold a very important cultural heritage. In the history of these cities represented here today, you would find many cultural references. Baghdad is the Beytül Hikmet city, a city of wisdom, for instance. That's only one example. The Middle East bears ancient wisdom, and it is represented around this table today. On our screens, you would see pictures of activities from the last 5 years. These are cultural and art activities which the mayor deems as a basic right of an urban citizen. These cities represented here with a very strong and rich cultural and historical heritage has always given importance to art and culture. When we talk about conflict of civilizations today, we see that the main solution would come from overcoming conflicts through meeting of cultures. We should go beyond, and we can go beyond these conflicts through bringing together of cultures, bringing together of people, because we have a great potential as human beings, and once we turn our faces to common goals, common themes and values, we discover one another and we see that we are similar. Culture and arts today is even more important than before, because it helps us transcend geographical borders and to reach out to one another. In Istanbul, we have transformed 32 historical areas, historical sites, and these all represented historically important areas in Istanbul, old, historically important landmarks of Istanbul, and they were transformed, and they gave the message of going into the future, not being idle and forgotten, but living landmarks, going into the future, inspiring people. This is what we try to achieve with these transformations. And I think in this regard, all cities in this region, all cities represented here today, have a common story. We are all parts of the same common story. We are the ancient cities of the East, and therefore I think we need to sit together, share our best practices. We should culture and arts peoples, intellectuals who are seeking ways of expressing themselves, we should find them, bring them together, help them to get to know one another. And if there are still some obstacles that we cannot overcome, we can use culture and art as a channel, as a way of bringing these people together. It's important that we help mature cultural diplomacy. It's important that we bring these cities together for the cities to get to know one another better. We should start a dialogue. We should work on cultural cooperation. We had already started on these activities with some of the cities represented here today, and we should continue to do so, because it will help us establish really strong ties, establish networks. When you compare harmony and conflict, of course, we know that we want harmony. And in order to bring more harmony, we need to make sure that we involve people of culture, of arts, of intellectual arena, to give them a platform, an environment where they can come together. And it's only through them that we can overcome conflicts, we can understand one another better. I think this Eastern wisdom should be shared and brought up, and we should show it to the world. It's time for the Eastern wisdom to play its role, because people have been limited with one-dimensional, restrictive geographies, and if we actually open up these borders through culture and arts, we can help people to communicate with one another in different cultures. We can overcome then difficulties or discrepancies. Culture and art actually form civilizations. Economic investments, development aims to uplift and uplift people and to bring a better thinking, a better understanding of the world. Since this is the ultimate goal, we should also bear in mind that alongside we can invest in culture and arts. Anatolia and eastern countries and the cities in these lands will definitely be stronger if they get together. We should cooperate in cultural and art related funds, in the cooperation of cultural and artistic work. We have a lot to do in this field, and I would like to thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for your remarks, Mr. Mahir Polat. Indeed, all these cities have a long, old history, and it is our job to protect, to sustain, and help survive the cultures of these cities, just so that people today can learn and can meet with these old important cultures. And it's important also that we carry it to the future, because it will help bring together cultures and peoples. Thank you for your remarks, helping us remember once again that we have a big potential here. We have a big strength. We know very well that cities here today are representatives of ancient old civilizations, old wisdom, and we know that we can cooperate in this area as well, and there's a big potential here, definitely. Thank you for your remarks that reminded us of our cultural artistic strength, and I'm sure that as we cooperate in other fields, in this field as well, we will have a strong cooperation. Now, we will take a break, but before that, I will summarize. We have discussed the roles and responsibilities of cities in building peace, and all cities have taken the floor. But now, if we have any colleagues who would like to say a few words about the same theme, I would like to give the floor to you.
صباحكم فقط تعقيب يعني حتى تجهز الترجمة.
Yes, I would like to make a comment. A very short remark, actually. In addition to what Mahir said, he referred to a clash of civilizations, and I personally believe that there's no clash. This actually gives an opportunity to the Zionists as well, because they consider themselves to be a civilized country. We don't see them as a civilized country. We're not against Jews as a religion, because there are Judists in Palestine as well. So we don't have any problems with them from a religious point of view. There are Jews in the United States as well who stand against the atrocities in Palestine. So I think we have to differentiate between these groups. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for sharing your opinions. Seydan Karalar. Yes, I agree. I agree with Mr. Mayor, but I don't think that's what Mahir Bey meant to say, because I'm sure that he's of the same opinion with us. Imagine Syria. There was a civil war in Syria for 13 years. And then think about the time before the civil war. They spent years trying to start the civil war before that. I'm not talking about civilizations, but I'm talking about, differences of opinion, etc., and a segregation. People do their best to turn that segregation into, or a dissolution into, a clash. That is why we have to overcome the dissent or the disagreement among people so that we can have peace and stability. We have to overcome the disagreements to reach peace. Thank you. Thank you for this opinion as well. We will soon break for coffee. But before we do, let me share with you the following. All the speakers touched upon peace in a reinforced manner, and they all highlighted the fact that cities play an important role in contributing to peace. These were all very strong presentations. I would like to thank all mayors for sharing their opinions, their ideas. Istanbul has an active population of almost 20 million people. Istanbul serves approximately 20 million people, including the refugees here. So actually, we have strong traces of your people living in Istanbul today as well. And this is not only a fact for today. I mean, from the east to the west and from the north to the south, I'm sure, dear colleagues, you can find traces of your cities in Istanbul from an ethnic point of view, from a sectoral point of view, or from a religious belief point of view. You can feel all these differences here in Istanbul. Democracy is the rule of majority, but it also aims at defending all the rights of the minorities and making them all equal. So in this context, we attach a lot of importance to fundamental and individual rights and freedoms to make things easier for all our citizens and to keep people at an equal footing. We see ourselves as the guardians of thousands of years of historical legacy. So in this ancient city, our perspective has always been living together with Muslims, Christians, Jews, Turks, Arabs, Kurds. Our aim is to make sure that all individuals feel safe, secure, and happy in this city. This has always been our #1 priority. And I believe that if we keep this in mind, the city of Istanbul will be peaceful and people will feel safe. And we also believe that this feeling will spread out to other cities. as well from Istanbul and to our neighbors as well. So through solidarity, we can exchange these positive feelings. I have full belief that the Republic of Turkey attaches a lot of importance that all her neighbors are safe, peaceful, and stable. This is a guarantee for us, and our peace is a guarantee for our neighbors. So we can easily translate this intercity solidarity to a solidarity among our countries, because this will carry us to a better point, all of us. That is why in this session we discussed the role of cities in building peace, and we heard very strong expressions, especially from Kamal from Isfahan. The mayor of Isfahan, Mr. Kamal, also made a recommendation saying that this gathering turns into a strong initiative. I hope that this gathering will become an institutional one in the future, so that we can have different cities hosting these meetings in the future. And I hope that one day we have our voices heard globally, and I hope that we can also transfer this positive feeling, and I hope that we can create a platform with positive feelings that will also inspire international organizations. I would like to thank all mayors and all participants. I congratulate you all for your peaceful remarks. Thank you very much. I now invite you over to the coffee break. Thank you.
20 dakika.
We have a 20-minute coffee break. A 20-minute coffee break.
Time is 20 minutes. Okay.